100 li west of Bajau city, killing intent blanketed heaven and earth. Even the very air seemed to congeal into frost, heavy and unmoving. Around the aged Taoists and venerable monks, vital chi roared like tidal waves, condensing into towering divine apparitions, whose auras threatened to swallow mountains and overturn rivers. The Tao sect and Great Thunderclap Monastery possessed legacies older and deeper than that of the Heavenly Devil cult. Before these two sacred grounds, the Heavenly Devil cult was but a youthful sect, its roots shallow by comparison. Within the gods shaped from the vital chi of the old Taoists and monks, one could glimpse deities that had strode across the long river of history. There stood a three-headed, four-armed divinity. Another bore a tortoise shell upon its back and wielded a horsetail whisk. Yet another took the form of a hoopoe with a leopard's tail. There were Vajrayakshas and myriad other manifestations, each awe-inspiring and dreadful to behold. As for Teacher Poor, True Lord Tian, and the others, their visions were of a different cast, though their inheritances were not as ancient as those of the Tao sect or Great Thunderclap Monastery. Their might was by no means inferior. Behind some appeared wise sages. Behind others, women clutching golden insects. Still others were shadowed by rag-clad poor gods whose garments were riddled with holes. Yet the chi manifestations of the foremost officials of the imperial court differed from all of them. Behind General of Heavenly Strategies, Qin Baoyue stood no god, but a pair of golden truncheons blazing with radiant light. 8 blades spun ceaselessly along their shafts. This man had long waded through battlefields and did not seek to cultivate into God or Buddha. Thus he revered his weapons as the divinity that commanded him in war. Behind Grand Marshal Monk Yuan Kong rose not a Buddha, but an ascetic monk wrapped in iron chains, gripping a monk's blade. His stance was one of combat, mirroring the man himself as though carved from the same mold. Behind King of Mount Tai Ling Shuhua coiled nine dragons about Mount Tai, the mountain serving as altar for their veneration. He presided over ancestral rites and sacrifices. Sikong Wei Pingbo, overseer of Water Conservancy in Eternal Peace Empire, did not manifest a god at all. Instead, behind him stretched a vast river dam, wrought from earth, timber, and water. His divinity was waterworks and governance of floods. Situ Shu Leaking, a female official entrusted with the Empire's treasury and the wealth of the world, manifested not a deity but an immense string of abundance coins that writhed like a colossal python. Her god was wealth itself. High official Su Yunji, likewise a woman of rank equal to the 3 councillors, opened her own bureau and rose to the summit of civil office. She governed the primary schools and colleges of the realm, and thus behind her appeared no god but a book and a ruler. Behind Grand General of White Horse Quan Dingwu surged a steed wreathed in blazing flames. Upon that war horse stood a god bathed in the fire of slaughter. 8 arms extended from its body, clutching knife, shield, spear, pike, sword, and halberd. 4 faces gazed toward the 4 quarters and 8 directions, flames bursting from their eyes like lances of fire. Each of those 4 visages bore the general's own countenance. From this alone, one could discern that the cult master-level experts of the imperial court differed from those of the sects. The Tao sect and Great Thunderclap Monastery worshipped gods and Buddhas, and so gods and Buddhas stood behind them. The imperial court's powerhouses, however, revered the duties they bore. Each oversaw a different charge. Each cultivated his own office as path. Even Monk Yuan Kong, born of Buddhism, regarded himself as an ascetic, forging enlightenment upon the battlefield, not as a lofty Buddha seated upon a lotus throne. A long-eared monk's expression shifted subtly. In a low voice he said, "Imperial preceptors' reforms have given rise to these evil and unorthodox paths that refuse to worship gods. They would sooner revere such rubbish than the true gods and Buddhas." Grand General of White Horse pointed at him and sneered. "Apply what you have learned. Act according to your knowledge. Long-eared monk, the skills you glean from religious practice are shallow. You will find it difficult to escape death. Is a lifetime of cultivation truly inferior to attaining enlightenment and becoming God or Buddha?" Emperor Yanfeng spoke leisurely. "These are the abilities of men themselves. To rely upon gods and Buddhas, that is the unorthodox path. When one perfects his duties and cultivates them to the realm of gods and Buddhas, only then does he become God or Buddha." The old Taoists of the Tao sect knit their brows. Old Tao Master shook his head. Cultivate one's occupation into the realm of God? Then, even after becoming divine, would they not still toil for mortals? These are again the teachings of the Heavenly Devil cult, nothing more than the everyday uses of common folk. Emperor, you have been swayed by Imperial Preceptor and the Heavenly Devil cult. Emperor Yanfeng smiled faintly. If I were to join the Heavenly Devil cult, I might well become its cult master. Since it is the devil path, no further words are needed. The old Taoists adjusted the treasured swords upon their backs. It was impossible to say who first roared, "Die!" At that single word, killing intent surged into the firmament. The trembling cold wind grew sharp enough to pierce bone. Yet at that very instant, an old man approached, tugging at a cow cart that rattled gulu gulu. All drew back their murderous qi and stood in silence, eyes lowered. The old man was astonished to behold a sky brimming with gods and Buddhas. The cow trembled so violently that its legs nearly gave way, unable to pull the cart. Enraged, the old man lashed it several times until it mustered its strength, and slowly dragged the cart from this place where it should never have been. Only after the old man and cow cart vanished into the distance did the killing intent once more swell. Just as the Divine Bridge Realm experts were about to strike, another gulu gulu echoed as a second cow cart approached. Another old man trudged forward, pulling it. At the sight of the gathered powers, he quaked with fright and struggled mightily to steer the cart away. A collective breath was released. They prepared again to move, yet the gulu-gulu of wheels rang out once more. An old Taoist snarled, "In this frozen wasteland after calamity, where have so many cow carts sprung from?" All were startled. Indeed, disaster ravaged the land. Livestock had long since been consumed. How could 3 cow carts pass here in succession, and why here? Upon the next cart sat an elderly couple, a white-haired old woman and a man aged but not decrepit. All waited in silence for them to pass. Instead, the cart halted nearby. The cow stood unafraid. The old man and woman leapt down casually. As though performing a conjuring act, they grasped the cloth covering the cart, gave it a gentle shake, and whisked it away. In an instant, dozens of strangely shaped figures materialized atop the cart, packed so tightly they nearly spilled over. Heavenly Devil cult's left and right guardians, 12 cult protector elders and 2 heavenly kings. Tao Master looked down helplessly. We saw but 2 elders and a cow. Who would have thought 16 men would spring forth? A fine trick indeed. Heavenly Devil cult. Left Guardian Kong Lingxian lifted his head and chuckled. As we wander the martial world, we often perform conjuring tricks to earn a few tips from officials. Forgive us for displaying our humble skills before the honored lords. Right Guardian Shebi smiled radiantly. Old bald donkey, old Taoist, our cult master ordered us to follow the Emperor home for New Year. Now that the Emperor faces peril, how could we, old brothers, stand idle? Should we fail, once Cult Master returns, how could we endure his punishment? The 12 cult protector elders and 2 heavenly kings sprang from the cart. Heavenly King Shi and Heavenly King Yu stretched their limbs and bowed with grins. All present are great personages. We, mere old men, offer our respects. Cult Master entrusted us with a living emperor. If you kill him and we return a corpse, we could only offer our lives to quell his wrath. Beggar sect Master Chi Dao roared. Evil and unorthodox path. The Imperial Court consorts with the filthy Heavenly Devil cult. Fellow friends of Great Thunderclap Monastery, subdue the devils. Die! A thunderous cry split the heavens. In an instant, tempests howled, flattening swathes of forest. This clash surpassed even the battle to quell rebellion under Imperial Preceptor. Though many cult master-level beings fought then, they were inferior to the supreme experts of the 3 great sacred grounds. With the Imperial Court itself equivalent to a sacred ground, the collision of the 4 greatest powers could scarcely be imagined. This time, however, the full forces of Great Thunderclap Monastery and Tao sect had come forth, while only half the Imperial Court and Heavenly Devil cult's elites stood here. With Tao Master and Rulai present, the omens were grim for their foes. Once blades were drawn, blood would flow. The long-eared monk immediately sought out Quan Dingwu. 2 divine Bridge Realm titans unfurled their divine treasures, rending heaven and splitting earth. The long-eared monk, head of the Hall of Arhats, was versed in Buddhism and victorious fighting skill. Quan Dingwu, Grand General of White Horse, had spent a lifetime mounted and killing, trampling kingdoms and sects alike through fire and steel. When Imperial College was founded, Eternal Peace, Imperial Preceptor, gathered the world's experts to debate the path. Quan Dingwu among them counted among the Empire's foremost. When victorious fighting skill met the art of slaughter, a sea of blood surged skyward, war flames blazing above it. The vision seemed tangible, born of Quan Dingwu's killing intent. A colossal Buddha towered above that sea of blood, the long-eared monk standing before it, diminutive by comparison. Through the blood and fire, Quan Dingwu charged. His warhorse trod upon the flames. Behind it loomed a monstrous god of slaughter, terrifying beyond measure. Evil and orthodox path, death cannot expiate the crimes of those who do not cultivate true Buddhism. Golden light suffused the long-eared monk. Arms interlocked, he chanted incantations, forming two mudras at once, intricate beyond compare, striking at Quan Dingwu's vital points. To his astonishment, Quan Dingwu did not evade. Vital chi arms sprouted beneath his own, wielding knife, shield, spear, pike, sword, and halberd in a storm of blows. The knife severed the monk's arms, the shield crushed his skull, the spear pierced his chest and hoisted him aloft, the pike drove through his heart, the sword light slit his throat. The halberd impaled and suspended him high. Behind them, the god of slaughter battled the colossal Buddha as blood sea and war flames whirled like a vortex. You did not dodge. The long-eared monk rasped upon the halberd. A massive shield descended, smashing him to fragments. On the battlefield, killing requires but one or two moves. Why dodge? War demands slaughter. If I fought by your style, would I not meet your strength with my weakness? Quan Dingwu spat a mouthful of blood. The two mudras had nearly shattered his viscera. Ribs and shoulder blades lay crushed. He sucked in cold air against the agony. Suddenly a golden palm slammed down with a thunderous boom. Another monk had arrived, wielding emptiness in his hands, crushing him beneath an 18 heavens pagoda. Gods and Buddhas filled that tower, grinding every bone in Quan Dingwu's body. Monk Yuan Kong, you too are of Buddhism. Why tread the devil path and become a hawk and hound of the imperial court? Noon Hong Yin of the Hall of Great Teachings blocked Grand Marshal Monk Yuan Kong, urging him, "Awaken and cease your errors. Persist, and you will forever fail to attain the spiritual state." Monk Yuan Kong's eyes flared. "What spiritual state? With Buddha in heart, one never reaches it. His Majesty ordered me to govern military law, so I bound myself with iron discipline. When these chains break, I shall attain the spiritual state." Noon Hong Yin's fury blazed, her horsetail whisk swept out. "You are tainted by devil, let me cleanse you." Elsewhere, old Taoists unleashed their swords. The sky filled with swordlight, 14 writings of Tao sword, unrivaled in sharpness and supremacy, the Tao sect's foremost art. "Form the formation, slay the devils," cried an old Taoist. "Lay the formation, refine the Taoist to death." Shui Biye barked in reply. The 2 heavenly kings and 12 elders formed a grand array to meet them. Old adversaries all, they knew one another's arts intimately. General of heavenly strategies, high official, Sikong, Situ, king of Mount Tai, were each hemmed in by great Thunderclap Monastery's elites. Relying on numbers, the monks encircled and sought to annihilate them, leaving only Emperor Yanfeng untouched. Emperor Yanfeng beheld Teacher Po, Chi Daio, and True Lord Tian approaching. Rulai and Tao Master advanced as well, bearing an alms bowl and a sword. Rulai spoke warmly. "Teacher, fellow Tao friends, assist the others. Leave this to this old monk and the old Taoist." They acknowledged and plunged into battle. Rulai turned to Emperor Yanfeng. "Your Majesty, excuse me." Emperor Yanfeng's body trembled. Dragon chi cleaved the sky in majestic arcs. Dragon roars shook the clouds. A true dragon's form flickered within. Head and claws extended before lowering its vast visage toward Rulai. Tao Master stepped forth, Tao sword sweeping. Sword light veiled the heavens, forcing the dragon back. He praised, "Your Majesty approaches the threshold of turning false into true, on the verge of becoming a true god. Alas, the divine bridge is severed, hope is scarce." This old Taoist is inadequate, having cultivated but half the 14th writing of Tao sword. Today, I shall use this incomplete art to witness your Majesty's powerful and benevolent rule. Rulai's golden alms bowl soared skyward, covering the firmament. golden radiance poured forth, within which appeared gods and Buddhas of the 20 heavens. At the highest tier sat Brahma, majestic and imposing. Rulai smiled. I shall employ the highest realm of Rulai's Mahayana Sutra to experience your Majesty's 9 dragons monarch technique. Rulai and Tao Master were peerless prodigies of the previous generation, figures whose brilliance shook the firmament. Had the divine bridge not been severed, both would long ago have ascended beyond the mortal realm, stepping heavenward to become true Buddhas and immortals, leaving this dusty world behind. Emperor Yanfeng might have been the most junior among them, yet he occupied the 9 dragon veins and cultivated within the imperial city, drawing upon its boundless imperial fortune. With such advantage, his cultivation advanced at twice the speed of others. Coupled with his extraordinary talent, he had risen to stand among the foremost experts beneath the heavens. The Eternal Peace Empire was hailed as the greatest sacred ground of this world, and he, together with the Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor, were the sect masters of this supreme holy land. Even so, he remained slightly inferior to Rulai and Tao Master. The reason those two joined forces against him was not because they deemed themselves weaker, but because in single combat they would find it difficult to prevent his escape. Yet once allied, Emperor Yanfeng would have no path of retreat. Crackle, crackle. Lightning descended from a clear sky, bolts tearing through the void to coil around Emperor Yanfeng's body in a storm of sparks. Radiant light blazed, illuminating real dragons that writhed across the heavens. 9 dragons roared in unison, their claws rending toward Tao Master and Rulai. Rulai chuckled softly. The golden alms bowl flipped upward, bursting forth in brilliant golden radiance. The 20 heavens within were unleashed, and gods and Buddhas surged forth to clash against the 9 dragons. "Old Tao friend, I leave the task of slaying the Emperor to you," Rulai said with a smile. Old Tao Master guided his sword. Its light pulsed with wondrous cadence, as though commanding the rhythms of the mortal world itself. In a low chant he intoned, "The Tao nourishes the earth of all heavens, giving birth to myriad laws. All beneath heaven returns to one. Your Majesty, this incomplete strike." Before his words could finish, 2 streaks of light flashed across the battlefield and abruptly halted. Old Tao Master hastily reined in his sword, focusing his gaze. There, suspended in midair, stood an elder in green Buddhist robes and a blind man with a bamboo cane. "Rulai, fighting are you?" Blind asked with a broad smile. Rulai withdrew the golden radiance spilling from his alms bowl and returned the smile. "Ma Wangshen, Tao friend Blind, what brings you here?" Old Ma replied coldly, searching. Blind tapped his bamboo cane lightly. The sky quaked. The fierce combatants below were startled and hurriedly ceased their struggle. Blind beamed at them. When winds arise, clouds follow, and everyone seems terribly busy fighting. Since I have greeted you all, forgive the disturbance, but may I ask if any of you have seen a woman? Quan Dingwu, who had been on the brink of death, finally gained a moment to breathe. "Blind man, who are you seeking?" "A woman, especially beautiful, the kind whose face you see once and never forget, the kind that gnaws at your heart." Sigh. Blind shook his head. "This woman is formidable, and within her heart dwells an old devil bent on wickedness. That devil fell in love with her beauty and wishes to seize her body to become a woman himself. A beauty like jade deserves a golden house, they say. We went to Great Thunderclap Monastery, intending to ask old Rulai to subdue this ancient devil." He rambled on at length, leaving all listeners perplexed. Old Ma said flatly, "Blind, the point." Blind scratched his head. "Ah, this woman is the former cult mistress of Heavenly Devil Cult, the previous saintess. Rulai wished to kill the Emperor, so he let her escape." Rulai chuckled. "This old monk cannot divide himself in 2. I was unable to assist her, much as I might have wished." Blind scolded him angrily. "If you couldn't do it, you should have said so earlier. Now we cannot find her at all. Tao friends, did any of you see the former cult mistress of Heavenly Devil Cult? She is especially beautiful. One word from her could charm you to the marrow. Has anyone seen her?" Everyone shook their heads. A glimmer of hope ignited within Shui Bi. She cried loudly, "We are from Heavenly Saint Cult. We beg you two to lend us aid." Rulai looked surprised. Old Tao Master asked, "What is their origin?" "My chief disciple and the spear god," Rulai replied. Old Tao Master said in astonishment, So you are the three-eyed divine constable Ma and the god's eyes of old. You have grown this old already? Old Ma shook his head. Your affairs are not as urgent as finding our person. We will not interfere. You killing the Emperor or protecting him truly is less urgent than our search, Blind sighed ruefully. If the Emperor dies, you need only enthrone another, but if that demoness escapes, the entire world will be doomed. Emperor, have you seen this cult mistress? Emperor Yanfeng's expression was grim as iron. He slowly shook his head. I have never seen her. May I ask the two seniors to assist? Blind seemed disappointed. No interest. It is good you have not seen her. Had you seen her, you could only await merrily the destruction of your empire. Old Ma, let us go. She cannot have gone far. Old Ma nodded. The two figures vanished in a flash, disappearing without a trace. All were startled. Truly eccentric senior experts. The sounds of slaughter erupted anew. Rulai released the golden radiance once more, and the 20 heavens soared high. Dao Master's sword light unfurled, the power of the 14th writing bursting forth. The blade expounded the relationship between earth and heaven, like earth, transforming into all laws, into the alignment of the stars. This sword embodied the unity of all relations between heaven and earth. Emperor Yanfeng executed the 9 dragons monarch technique. Auspicious vapors of 9 dragons coiled about him as he stepped upon multicolored sunlight. Each strike he delivered bore unimaginable might, capable of rending mountains, splitting seas, and overturning heaven and earth. He was versed in countless divine arts, even able to wield the Dao sword of Dao sect and the victorious fighting skill of Great Thunderclap Monastery. In his hands, any divine art became miraculous, achieving unfathomable power. Even the secrets of hatred parting heavenly sword, an art meant only for women, he could execute, and with even greater potency. In his grasp, even the most ordinary move gained immeasurable force. Spells, sword arts, corporeal divine skills, he performed them all, each strike akin to moving mountains and draining oceans. The 9 dragons monarch technique had been cultivated by him to the level of a god. Dao Master's eyes gleamed. His sword raged like a tempest toward Emperor Yanfeng. The world proclaims the imperial preceptor a genius in path and skill, yet it has overlooked Emperor Yanfeng. Your Majesty, you are already a grandmaster. You could found your own sect and sacred ground. What a pity. Chi, Chi, Chai! The Dao sword carried the rhythm of heaven and earth, piercing layer after layer of the Emperor's defenses, wounding him again and again. Rulai seized the opening, his golden alms bowl inverted, and the 20 heavens pressed downward. 20 small worlds descended in succession upon Emperor Yanfeng's body. The Emperor grunted. As he withstood the crushing weight, his movements slowed. Yet the might of his path, skills, and divine arts only grew more formidable as he contended against the Dao sword. Dao Master's incomplete sword art possessed myriad transformations, traceless as it derived the limits of algebraic operations. It fully enacted the Dao of producing one producing two producing three, and 3 producing all things, touching the essence of creation itself. But Dao Master's wisdom halted there. He had not perfected the final move, thus his art remained incomplete. Even so, this incomplete sword could annihilate all paths, skills, and divine arts. Rulai suspended the golden alms bowl aloft and chanted in a resonant Buddha voice, "The eternal peace, imperial preceptor, has yet to appear. Changes are inevitable. Let us end this swiftly." His body trembled and transformed into a towering Buddhist idol. His palm struck lightly forward, 5 fingers trembling, manifesting 5 great mountains that descended with crushing force. At this moment, Jinmu sat upon the dragon kiln 300 miles away. The beast galloped through the sky atop its fire clouds. Faster! Faster still! Jinmu sensed the terrifying fluctuations ahead and urged his mount on. "If you can run faster, I'll give you 3 buckets of Scarlet Fire spirit pills," the dragon Qilin panted. "Cult Master, I am already doing my utmost." Jinmu gritted his teeth. "You are far slower than that green bull. He could run twice your speed, covering 10,000 miles in a single dash. Fatty dragon, if you push harder, I'll take you to beat up that green bull. But if you stay this slow, I'll bring the green bull to beat you." The dragon Qilin clenched his teeth and suddenly burst forth with all his strength. The fire clouds beneath him exploded, and his speed surged tremendously, nearly throwing Jinmu off. After racing 30 to 50 miles thus, his pace faltered. Foam frothed from his mouth. "Cult master, I cannot endure." Chinmu was helpless and snapped fiercely. "Still dare to be gluttonous? I'll serve you at the New Year feast." As he spoke, streaks of green and grey light whooshed past, leaving him stunned. The two streaks then wheeled back. "Mu'er, why are you here?" The lights resolved into Old Ma and Blind. Blind said, "If my eyesight were poorer, I might have missed you. When did you leave Great Thunderclap Monastery? Did the monks trouble you?" Chinmu hurriedly replied, "I left right after you." "Grandpa Blind, Grandpa Ma, this is bad. Rulai and the others are killing the Emperor." Old Ma said, "We saw. A trivial matter. Emperors are always replaced." Blind grumbled, "Mu'er, do not neglect what is truly important. Li Tianxing is the greater calamity. If that wretch seizes Granny's body, that is real trouble. Who could stop her?" "I have found Granny, so Grandpas need not worry. She merely fears implicating you by returning to the great ruins." Chinmu blinked. "Can Grandpas save the Emperor?" Old Ma glanced at Blind. Blind shook his head. "Difficult. The Emperor may already be dead. Once Rulai and Dao Master join forces, even the Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor would likely be powerless. Ah, your Heavenly Devil cult is also there. I suspect they will die miserably." Chinmu clenched his teeth. "The Emperor cannot die yet. As for my cult's experts, no need to worry. They can teleport away at any time. The Imperial Preceptor is not there?" "Never saw him," Old Ma replied. "Rulai and Dao Master are old. They cannot fight long without exhausting much of their lifespan." Blind grinned. "We are younger than they." Old Ma nodded. Blind smiled. "Then let us snatch the Emperor back. Mu'er, wait here. We shall retrieve the Emperor's corpse for you." Chinmu was stunned. "Corpse?" Old Ma's voice drifted from afar as he departed. "Since Dao Master has joined hands with Rulai, he is surely dead." On the battlefield, Rulai and Dao Master pressed their assault, seeking to end matters swiftly. Emperor Yanfeng endured heavy blows as he faced the two godlike existences. His qi and blood still surged vigorously, while the qi and blood of Rulai and Dao Master fluctuated. Yet their cultivation was simply too profound. In cultivation, they far surpassed him. In battle strength, they were likewise a level above. Moreover, these two had united against him. Though his qi and blood were abundant, he was being burned away, reduced to a dying ember. Dao Master and Rulai both knew the next strike would claim his life. When a bamboo cane lashed through the air, old Dao Master hastily swung his sword to block. Rulai felt killing intent at his back. The golden alms bowl flashed behind him. A clear ding and dong rang out as the bamboo cane struck the sword and the sword stabbed into the alms bowl. Blind staggered back and praised, "Superb abilities. Your cultivation exceeds mine. Only slightly weaker than village chief, that old fellow." With that, he turned and left. Rulai and Dao Master spun around. Emperor Yanfeng had vanished without a trace. "No need to pursue. Emperor Yanfeng's qi and blood have withered, and all his divine treasures are shattered," Rulai sighed. "Good. Even if saved, he would be useless." A body suddenly hurtled toward Chinmu and crashed upon the dragon Qilin's back. "Mu'er, the corpse you wanted is here."